This video will show you just how easy it is to create your own version of EmpowerDB to collect the information required for the VOCA quarterly report and the FVPSA report and a variety of OVW reports. For this video, we will use the OVW stop report as an example, but their other reports like SASP, Rural and CSSP are all almost identical. I'll also show you how to generate the numbers that appear on the VOCA, FVPSA and OVW reports. At any time, you can jump to the different sections of this video using the chapter markers at the bottom. Alright, let's get started. To set up your free account, simply go to empowerdb.com and click on the Join menu. In this example, we'll be setting up a free account, but you can read more and watch this video about the benefits available on our 2 paid accounts. Here is the list of templates. This is the training video for the templates that combine a standard OVW report with the information on the VOCA and FVPSA reports. The rest of this join form should be pretty straightforward and should only take you a couple of minutes. Once you've got this form completed, press Submit and your system will be created in seconds. You just need to click a verification link that will be sent to your email and then log in with the credentials you entered on this form. Once you're all signed in, you'll be taken to the EmpowerDB homepage. If you'd like to add any additional users to your account, you can do so by visiting the staff list here and clicking Add New Staff up top. The fields here should all be pretty self-explanatory. Remember, you can add as many users as you like. There are a few other parts of the system that you can customise to improve how you collect data for your reports, but I'll save those until the end of the video. Let's get started looking at how to enter data. Right on the homepage is this Add Activities module. We find that for many organisations, activities data like services, referrals and groups can be the type of information that gets entered the most. That's why this Add Activities module is here, right on the homepage, to make that as easy as possible. To add individual client activities, we simply select the name of a client already in the system. I'll show you how to add new clients in a moment. Then we make sure that the date field is correct. This will always default to today's date. Next, we set which of the 2 funders this activity is for. The system looks to this funder designation to determine whether a client should appear on your VOCA report, OVW report, or neither VOCA nor OVW. FVPSA is not on this list because, in our experience, FVPSA asks for all services that your organisation provides to be included in their report. So, the services that you add for VOCA or OVW will always also appear on the FVPSA report. Next, we'll select which of the service types were provided. If you provided more than one service in the same session, simply click the plus icon here and select those additional items. One session can have as many service types as you like. You can also include some notes about the session if you'd like to. These don't get used for any of the funder reports, it's just here in case it's helpful to you. Click Submit and the activities are added. To enter in groups data, click on the Groups button here. Select the date and the group type, then enter in each of the attendees like this. Again, these notes for the group are optional and don't actually get used for the reports. We can submit this group and the data has now been saved. There are a couple of ways to view the activities data that you enter. One handy way is by looking in your activities calendar. This calendar icon will be available on all pages in the system. Here we can see the entries we just made. We can edit these entries, delete them, add new entries on specific dates, or switch to view this information in an outline view. So, those are the Add Activities module basics. I do just want to mention that subscribers of our paid plans can have a variety of other activity types, inputs, and other options here. You've just been given what's needed for the VOCA, FVPSA, and OVW reports. We'd be happy to talk to you more about what other features can be added here to help you with your work. Now I can show you how to add new clients into the system. From the home page, we can click Add New Entry up top and then select Add New Client. You will then select which of these 3 programs you'd like to add this client to. Let's select the shelter program and continue. Here is the data input page for the shelter program. You should already be very familiar with these questions and recognise them as relating to the VOCA, FVPSA, and OVW reports. The first and last name fields don't get used for the report. They just help you to look up this client again later. Please remember that the information saved on MpowerDB is encrypted with a key that is only saved on your machines. It is impossible for MpowerDB staff or our hosting providers to read the names that you enter into the system. As you're entering in the client name, keep an eye on the existing client check on the right. If you enter a client with a similarly spelled name as someone who already exists in the system, you'll receive a notice here. If you're adding a client into a shelter program, you'll see this Move-ins and Move-outs section. This lets the system know exactly which clients should appear in the shelter category of the FVPSA report, depending on when they were staying at your shelter. It also lets the system calculate how many shelter nights occurred for your program in each quarter. If a client moves out and then back in, you can click the Include Additional Move-in button and enter in the details for this new shelter stay. The non-shelter program's data input page looks identical to this one, except it doesn't have this move-ins and move-outs section. Next, I wanted to be sure to point out this birthday age field, as it's a bit unique to MpowerDB. If you know a client's birthday, the system will always know their age and know what age range category to put them in. If you don't know someone's birthday, you can enter an estimated age. Having this estimated field be a list of ages to pick from lets us accurately report this client in the right age range category as the years go by if the client ages into a new category. I also wanted to point out this incidents section. Like the move-ins and move-out section, it's also inside what MpowerDB calls a point-in-time block of information. This allows us to enter separate incident entries for each victimization situation this client has disclosed. So, if someone discloses to you that they experienced domestic violence today, then next month discloses different types of abuse experienced in a separate victimization, you can click this Include Additional Incident button here, and the incident questions will be repeated. You can then answer the questions about this newly disclosed type of abuse. And there's a similar situation with this protection orders point in time. You can enter a separate entry for every protection order this client has received that should appear in the protection orders section of the OVW report. Scrolling further down on this Add New Client form, we see that Add Activities module again. This exists here to let you easily add any activities provided during this client's intake. It behaves exactly like the form I showed you on the homepage. Before we click the Add New Client button at the bottom, keep in mind that this page just includes the questions needed for your 3 funder reports. Subscribers of our multi-use plan can have as many questions as they want to track contact information, case management data, and any other fields that you or your funders require. All right, we're all set with this client. We can click the Add New Client button below, their record is created, and we are taken right to their client page. In the future, we can get back to the client record by clicking on the Lookup box on the top right and entering the client name or ID number that the system assigns. The client's unique ID number can be found underneath their name in the client record view. From this page, we can change any of the information that we already entered for the client. We can also add in some new activities. Again, this is the same form as appears on the homepage. And we can also view their activities outline to get a summary of the sessions that have been recorded for this client by all users in the organisation. Subscribers of our multi-use plan can finally control which users are able to see which activities entries. Let's take a look at what it looks like when adding a client to the hotline programme. From the homepage, we'll select the option to add a new client. And this time, we'll place them into the hotline programme. Here's the hotline data input page. It contains all the same demographics questions as the other programmes. The key bit on this page is the hotline calls point in time. This is where we track each hotline call from this client. With this information, the funder reports can tally the number of hotline calls and how many were shelter requests that were denied due to being at capacity. The call notes are just for your own benefit. They don't get used on the actual reports. If this client calls the hotline multiple times, you would click the Include Additional Hotline Call button here, and then enter the details about the new call. We understand you might not always be able to find a repeat caller's entry in the system and thus wouldn't be able to add an additional call like this, especially if you're not ever asking callers for their names. Just do your best. There's just no way to make hotline data be as clean and tidy as data in other programs. If you can't find a previous client record to add the new hotline call to, it won't hurt anything to just add the client again. Before we move on, I want to make sure it's clear what to do when a client moves from one program to another. For example, let's say this hotline client is now being served in the shelter program. All we need to do is check off the shelter button in the programs field up here, save changes, and the system now allows us to enter the information specific to the shelter program, like these move-ins and move-outs. Now, let's take a look at the two other types of data that we can enter that is specifically required by the FVPSA report: client surveys and events. From the homepage, let's select Add New Entry, and this time select Add Client Survey. Here we see a very simple form where we can record the answers to the very basic survey questions that the FVPSA report asks about. Once we submit this form, we can go to our list of client surveys and see this entry there. Of course, we can also open it and make changes if needed. And finally, there's events. From the homepage, we'll add a new entry and click Add Event. Here we see the 3 questions about the community education events that your organisation provides. Once again, subscribers of our multi-use plan can set up the event and survey forms to ask a much more dynamic set of questions. And that's really all there is to collecting all the data you need. Now let's take a look at the automated reporting tools to see just how easy it is to turn all of that data into the exact numbers required for your VOCA, FVPSA and OVW reports. Let's start with the VOCA report. To access the VOCA report, click on the Reports link on the homepage. Then click on the VOCA Quarterly Report. Select the quarter you want to run the report for and click Continue. At the top, we see a list of all the clients the report has determined are new or ongoing. The report does know to treat everyone as new again in the new fiscal year. If a client is missing some important information, their row will be highlighted in yellow. You can click on their record to enter in any data that is missing. And now, when you scroll down, these are the report results. Each number can be clicked on to get a look at which clients or activities make up that number. That way, you can be fully confident in the accuracy of what you're seeing. Once you confirm that everything you see is correct, you can transcribe the numbers into the OVC webpage or the format that your state has given you. Now let's look at the OVW report. From the homepage, click on Reports. Then click on the OVW Report link. Enter the date range you want to run the report for and click Continue. At the top, we see a quick explanation of how the system is determining which clients qualify for this report, as well as some other key distinguishing factors that come up for this report. Again, all the report results are automatically calculated for us. The page will display the information just as it appears on Section D of the OVW reports. And just like all our funder reports, each number can be clicked on to get a look at which clients or activities make up that number. Once you confirm that everything you see is correct, you can transcribe the numbers into the format that OVW or your local funder provides you. And finally, the FVPSA report. Just as with the others, we start on the home page, click on Reports, and click on the FVPSA Progress Report. Select the quarter you want to run the report for, or set custom dates with the link here, and click Continue. Now we can see our FVPSA report results. We can click on the numbers to verify them, and read explanations of how the system is generating this data. Once you confirm that everything you see is correct, you can transcribe the numbers you see into the web page or the format that you use to report your FVPSA data. Please remember that this report is counting all services that your organisation provides, even the ones tagged as being funded by VOCA or OVW. The most common situation we find is that FVPSA wants to know about all of the services that your organisation provides. And there is another common quirk of this report that we often find trips people up. The list of clients served in shelter and non-residential will only show clients who were served in either programme for the first time this fiscal year. So if you're not seeing a client that you think should be in this list, try looking at prior quarters' reports to see if they were already counted in a previous quarter. This will even hold true if a client was served in a non-shelter programme in one quarter and then a shelter programme in the next quarter. They will not appear as one of the shelter clients in the next quarter because they were already reported previously in non-shelter. We have even confirmed with representatives from the Administration for Children and Families that this is how their report is meant to behave. Even though the client won't count as a new shelter resident, please know that they will have their shelter nights reported in this shelter nights section here. And that's all there is to running your funder reports. With just one simple database, you're able to get exactly the information you need for all three of your federal funders. All right, for many of you, that's all you need to know, so please feel free to stop the video here. But in case you're interested, there are actually some ways that even users of our free service can customize their system. First, by default, your programs are given these rather generic names. A user with site administrator permissions can change these names to anything you'd like by going to the home page, clicking Database Administration and selecting Programs, choosing the name of the program you'd like to edit, and setting a new name here. Residential type programs also allow you to modify the room list that appears in the move-ins and move-outs section. For example, you can make your room list show every available unit you have in your shelter. Next, you are able to customise the lists of services, referrals and groups that appear in the Add Activities module. From the home page, go to Database Administration and select one of the three activity types here you'd like to modify. Next, select the option to add a new type on the top right. For example, let's say you want to be able to record in greater detail what kind of victim-survivor advocacy you provided to a client. You can enter each as its own service type and then have that mapped to the correct option for each of your funders. You shouldn't feel the need to create multiple service types that are for the same thing but are worded differently for each funder. It's better to have one list of services matching what your organisation actually does, and then have each of those items linked up to your funders' lists of options like we're doing here. You might also want to do this for your groups. If you hold a variety of different support groups, You can make one for each and just make sure they're all selected as being qualifying for your funder reports. Those are all the customizations that are available for users of our free plans. If you upgrade to one of our paid plans, we'll be able to make any other kind of customization that you like to the way that this report generates your numbers. We have over a decade of experience working with VOCA, OVW and FVPSA funded organisations of all sizes across the country. So believe me when I say that we've been asked to do it all when it comes to the way that this report is set up. There is additional information in our documentation section available on the homepage. For example, you might be interested in this article on how to delete or merge clients. You can also contact us via the support section here. But please remember that subscribers of our free plan will only be able to let us know about any errors that they might be experiencing or reach out to us about upgrading to one of our other plans. I hope this video has been helpful to you and that you're as excited as we are to be able to offer this functionality for free to organisations like yours across the country. If you're interested in upgrading to our multi-use plan, we'd be delighted to help you build a system that efficiently tracks all of the data that your organisation collects. One that meets all of your other reporting needs with our advanced reporting tools, uploads files to client records, collects data directly from clients or volunteers via off-site forms, and literally so much more. So please feel free to reach out to us for more information if you're interested in learning more about how we can help you with any of that. Thank you and take care.